What's up, YouTube? I have a special presentation for you guys today. It is an edited version of a demo of a presentation that I have been doing for several organizations over the last few months. Contains lots of great content about being intentional using AI and networking. I hope you enjoy, and as always, appreciate like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and we will talk again soon. So, what will we cover today? First, we're going to look at what intentionality looks like in practice with modern connection tools. Next is we will look at real world examples of what doesn't work and what does. And then finally, why intentionality is so important in today's world. Connection tools for our modern times. So for me, I'm defining that as networking and artificial intelligence. First thing, if you utilize networking properly, you're going to have access to hidden job markets and referrals. We think of the internet sometimes as the world, but when push comes to shove, when people need to make real decisions, those things are still happening across tables where people are looking each other in the eye and making those decisions. And by networking, you're hacking into that decision making, building partnerships and finding collaborators. So it's not just on the things you're looking for when you network, it's sometimes the things that you weren't looking for. You might have a half-baked idea that stays in the back of your head, and then you run into someone who also has another half-baked idea, and you guys randomly mention your two ideas, and you go, we should work together. Stuff happens more than you think. It really does. And then finally, opening doors you didn't know existed. You would be amazed at the things that people do to make a living, y'all. It's crazy. Hustles, side hustles, like fractional is a big thing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with fractional. So this is if you're like you're an HR professional and there's a company that's got like 7 people and they need an HR presence, but there's not enough work for 40 hours a week. So these fractional folks get like 5 clients and they work like 7 hours a week for each client because that's how, and it's crazy. It's insane. And then artificial intelligence, of course, is the other thing that everyone's talking about, AI. So when used properly, it helps you learn new skills, tools, and information faster. I did not know how to use PowerPoint before I created this slide deck. AI taught me how to use it. Next up is helps you turn rough ideas into clear direction. Coming up with this presentation, I had like a ton of ideas. I wanted to talk about AI. I wanted to talk about networking, but putting them together was tough at first, and my brain couldn't get there. So I just fed all this stuff into Claude, and I was like, blah blah blah, half idea, and it was able to take all of those machinations and start to piece things together. And once I saw the things it was piecing together, I was able to go, oh, okay, this is how we're going to get here. And that's how it is that you are sitting in this presentation now about intentionality. And then finally, AI, when used correctly, helps you refine, edit, and strengthen your work. Oftentimes you use Word to, of course, spell check, but then it'll do some syntax work for you too. You've used the wrong verb tense here, that kind of thing. But I have found, but of course now it can say things like, move this paragraph down here and it flows a lot better, and make this point differently, and so much. So it's a really, you almost have like an actual editor at your fingertips, which is really cool. Networking today is about strategic relationships, not business cards. Success comes from deliberate choices about where you invest your time. So let's look at what doesn't work, followed by what does. First up is networking without intention. So this first one is the card collector. This is the person that goes to a networking event and thinks that success is getting the most cards. But then they go home and they either put them in a little baggie or if they do send out some sort of follow-up, it's usually very generic. Nice to meet you, talk soon, whatever. No real intention on building a relationship. So this is a spray and pray networker. So this is the person, and this was me when I first started networking. It has the idea of if some is good, more is better. I think there was one week where I went to like 17 events in a week, including 5 in one day. Yeah, I was not okay. It's important to know that you do have a limited gas tank and being very judicious with your energy. And then this one is my wife's favorite, the pitch slapper. So this is the guy who has his smooth, well-polished 3-minute, 5-minute, and dear God have mercy on you if it's 7 or 10-minute pitch that just comes at you. And he leaves no window for you to respond back or anything like that. It's just you feel like you're watching an infomercial. And then finally is the comfort zone camper. So this is the person who will start to go to the same events every month. This is common with people that go to like chambers of commerce meetings and things like that. You start to go, oh, networking is easy now because you go and talk to Liz and Bob and James and all these people, but you don't go outside of your comfort zone. You start to get complacent. So you stop polishing those instincts to like challenge yourself, put yourself in new spaces, make new types of connections. So we've talked about the ways that you can network without intention. So now we're going to talk about networking with intention. First up are strategic selectors. So these are the people that are very judicious about what events they go to. They don't just go to every event on the calendar. And they're very specific about who they talk to. And when things start to get stale, they move on and they find different ways in different places to network. Next up is the prepared professional. So this is someone who, rather than having that pitch, who just throws it in those tight 10 minutes that they lock you into a room and hit you with, instead they memorize some bullet points that they want to get across to everyone they meet, but it's not a pitch. It's just more like a checklist. And by doing it as a checklist, that allows them to customize it to the context of the situation. And also, a good pitch answers 2 questions. What problems do you solve, and how are you different than other people in your space? And I know that may sound like I'm just talking to entrepreneurs, but I'm actually talking to job seekers too. You want to think, because any good career coach will tell you, as far as interviewing or anything, you don't want to just have a list of things you do. You want to talk about specific instances where you saved the company money or you made the manager's job easier or what have you. So next up is the active listener. So this is not someone who just sits there and doesn't talk, but this is someone who, when the other person is talking, they are being very thoughtful and listening and thinking of follow-up questions that show that they're engaged. And when they ask those questions, you get a really nice back and forth and something that resembles a conversation. And you learn so much more about each other if both of you are active listening. And then finally, the follow-up champion. So has a systematic approach to staying connected after initial meetings, usually within 24 to 48 hours. I would say of the clients I've had, 90% of them, this is what they struggle with the most. If there is someone you have met at a networking event and you think they're really cool and you're looking forward to either collaborating with them or they might have something that you can help them with and vice versa, make sure you follow up quickly, and not just quickly, make sure that it references the conversation. Make sure that it's a real, genuine, thoughtful response, and you will usually get a thoughtful response back. Just like we did with networking, we're going to do the same thing with AI. So using AI without intention. The first group we want to look at are the magic wand approach people. These are the people that say, write me a business plan, AI, and don't give it any context or any boundaries. Next up is the delegation dump. So this is where someone says, handle my emails by trying to remove themselves entirely from the process, which results in generic, forgettable output. This is dangerous. You want to make sure that you at least have your fingers on the pulse of everything that you're responsible for. You never want to fully give 100%, sit it and forget it. Because not only are you not exercising agency over the processes, but you'll start to lose the ability to do those things and to actually think about those things, those critical thinking skills. Next up is it just isn't for me. This is someone who has not tried AI, or they tried it once and they gave it a vague prompt like the magic wand approach and then complained because it didn't really give it what it wanted, and so it's trash and they don't give it a fair shake. When done properly, this tool is very amazing. So if you found yourself in this, I hope after the end of this presentation you'll be more willing to give it a shake, a real shake. And then finally is the skill replacement. So this is someone who uses AI to avoid learning skills or exercise or learning new tools or exercising critical thinking skills. And then they wonder why they aren't getting any better. And in fact, they're forgetting how to do stuff they used to know how to do because they're not exercising. I think I mentioned earlier on, like I didn't know how to use PowerPoint. I got AI to teach me how to use PowerPoint so that I could do this. And it can do all kinds of really cool stuff like that. AI with intention. So again, 4 paradigms. First up is the context master. Provides rich background information so AI can generate consistent, relevant responses within established parameters. It's so important to treat AI assistants just like you would any human assistant, and just assume that that AI can't read your mind any better than a person can. Next is the collaborative partner. So this is how I use AI the most and the most fun I get, which is using AI as a thinking partner while maintaining creative control, throwing messy ideas, and lets AI help refine them. Like I mentioned earlier, right, when I had the idea for this presentation. And it was very raw and loose, and I just threw those raw ideas at AI, and then eventually it was able to make sense of it and start to lead me down a direction that led to the presentation that we're all going through right now. So this is where we lean on the fact that I was in quality assurance for 20 years. I was in IT quality assurance. So you always want to have a sense of what the right answer is that you're asking, so that when it gives you incorrect output, you can respond and you can send back and you can say, this is not what I was looking for. Finally is the level up learner. So this is the person who uses AI to build skills, learn new tools, and speed up growth rather than replacing themselves. And why did we just spend 30 minutes going through all this stuff? Well, one, because corporate job stability is fading. And think about this. So like, you know how most jobs now require you to have some sort of computer literacy, right? Know how to use Microsoft Office, or browser literacy, like knowing how to get on the internet, how to go to sites, how to click around sites, all that stuff. Eventually AI is going to be the same thing. When you have most jobs, you're going to be expected to write prompts, to know what tools are the best, that kind of thing. And then this is the line that I get the most good response from when I do this presentation, and that is that AI amplifies intentional humans. It does not replace them. So I know a lot of folks are worried about a bot could do my job, that kind of thing. Well, here's the thing. If you are using AI the way we've talked about in the last 15 minutes or so to make yourself invaluable, you're not going to have any issues. You're going to be sought after when other people are going to be replaced, and that's going to be really sad. Deep connections outperform wide connections. This goes back to the networking thing about being diligent about your follow-ups when you meet someone and really building a network. That's what I tell people. Oh, when they ask me, when they say, "Oh, I know how to network." You coach people how to network. I know how to network. I say, "Well, I don't teach people how to network. I teach people how to build a network." And building a network is judicious and taking time and following up and being thoughtful and making real connections with people and active listening and all those things that we've been talking about. And then finally, technology levels the playing field, intentionality separates the winners. So very soon, everyone's going to have access to AI. And then what's going to separate the people that succeed from the people that don't? In a lot of ways, is going to be who is intentional about the tool, who's using it to make themselves better, not just to make their processes better.